Hello, welcome to my show in Nagaland TV. This is Kumud Das. Today I am having Mr. Naor Gilon as my guest, who is the ambassador of Israel Embassy in India, and I would like to welcome him on behalf of Nagaland people, as he has recently visited Nagaland and he is having good experiences to share with you today. So welcome. It's I'm honored and you are here, and it's my peculiar privilege to have you in my show. So first thing is that India and Israel, we are having 30 years of relationship. Last 30 January, we have completed 30 years. So you are here in Assam and Northeast. So what is your first impression on Northeast and Assam especially?
Yeah, I've been here only to Northeast. I went to Nagaland I was the guest of honor of the last Hornbill Festival. But I've been there very short, and it's my first visit to Assam. I must admit that we concentrated mostly on work. So we were yesterday all day back-to-back meetings inside buildings, but today I had a little bit time to go around to see the river and to see a museum about the heritage of Assam. So it was really beautiful, but I can't wait to come back with my family to do it properly.
Yes. So in Assam, one center of excellence for vegetables is there, and consulate officials who going to be set up. The foundation stone was laid down on 2019. So is there any specific plan for Assam and Northeast?
So yeah, the Northeast is important for us. It's important for the government of India. Also because of its location and importance, also because of the economy and what is here, the opportunities. That's why Israel 2 years ago nominated the Honorary Council.
Yes,
to be here permanently and to represent our interests. And we also about 3 years ago decided to agree together to establish here a center of excellence in agriculture and vegetables. We have about 30 centers of excellence around India. So it's about time that we have one in Assam, and we were very happy to hear from our counterparts from the Department of Agriculture here that we met that within a year, more or less, the new center of excellence should be already active. And it's very helpful from the experience we have in other places. What we are doing is really we are showcasing technology to farmers so they can adopt it, and it's adapted to the type of typical farming of small farmers in India in general, but I understood yesterday that in Assam more so, that the farms are even smaller than the Indian average. So we are showing right technology that if it's used well, these means it can bring up to 4 times the yield that the farmer has today.
4 times?
Up to 4 times, yes.
But one more thing, apart from technologies, do you have any other goal that exporting, are you assisting the farmers in exporting goods to other countries like Israel also?
No, this is not a job of ours. Of course, it's a job of the Indian side,
yes.
Indian local government, the federal government. No, we are working on the other part of the deal to bring Israeli products here. So each side has its own mission definition, but we are working on cooperation on many fields with Assam. We discussed yesterday about water management. Of course, you have in Assam more water than most places in the world. On the other side, in some places and areas, you have a problem with drinking water, especially after floodings, that water resources are contaminated. So we spoke, our agriculture attaché was here with us in the visit, and we spoke about different solutions, looking at the problems, trying to understand, trying to see whether we can produce also solutions and erosion of riverbanks during floodings, and so many topics were discussed.
So basically, we are having problems like this flood and artificial flood. Is there any technology which can provide help to the needy people of Assam and especially Northeast India?
So, there are a few projects that are dealing with prediction of floods in order to try and limit the number of lives that are lost, unfortunately, every year due to floods. So on this side of prevention, there are things that are working. What we are trying to do, for example, about water, just to give an example, when Prime Minister Modi visited Israel, he and Prime Minister Netanyahu went together and drove in a special off-road vehicle that is doing purification of water, drinking water in big quantities. So when you have an area of disaster and you lose your water resources, it can go to the place and start pumping out water and making them clean and giving drinking water. But this is, answering situations of emergency. So we discuss different options also on that.
Israel is known for waste management technology also. We are having this problem also. So can you suggest some improvements, and can you suggest some waste management program if our side or our local government willing to do so with you?
Yeah, I think that every country has its own advantages, situation, conditions, disadvantages. So everything is there built, and each country takes it to its own direction. So it's very hard for me to take the Israeli model of the startup nation, as it's called, with the highest number of startups per capita in the world, and say India should copy this and that, because, India, we are a tiny country of 9 million people. The size of Israel is 1/4 of Assam in territory.
Yes.
And I think that our advice is not necessarily, or copying our model is not necessarily what India or Assam should do. On the other hand, I think that you have already models in India that are working. Bangalore is one, for example, Hyderabad, where you have a strong ecosystem of innovation, Pune, Noida. So there are places, what we are offered here from the Israeli side, that we are very happy to share our experience, to bring here someone who was connected to the Israeli ecosystem of innovation, to say, how we did things. Now, again, it's not copy-paste into India.
Yes. You have been to Hornbill Festival, because this program will be watched by our Nagaland people also. So what do you feel about Nagaland and Hornbill Festival? What was your experience?
Yeah, I will tell you, I think it was about 2 months after I arrived in India, and most of my time by then it was inside Delhi. So I was around Delhi, and you understand, when you go to Nagaland, you see the huge difference, the landscape, the people, the food. It's a different thing. So you understand that India, you get to understand the magnitude of India. I call it the United States of India, because there are so many states here in India with different cultures and language and food and traditions and religions, and so it's so rich culturally that it's really amazing. I really enjoyed Nagaland. The festival itself, to see all the tribes coming in their traditional clothes and doing their traditional dances, and afterwards we went together with the chief minister to taste the different foods of the different tribes. So it was really a very enriching and inspiring cultural experience for us.
From food to military technology, we are depending, and we are having good relationship. We are maintaining the solidarity with Israel as of now. I want to ask one question. Israel is providing surveillance drones to India. Is there any plan? Is there any idea? Can we have any idea that in few years we'll get the attack drones also from Israel?
I don't know. Our military cooperation is going far before. Far before we had full diplomatic relations 30 years ago. So Israel was also involved in supplying and helping India in 1971.
Yes.
We give India whatever India needs. Their relations are very close. There are very few systems that that Israel would not supply, that we keep them only for Israel. Most of our systems, vast majority, are for export, and India is the country that one of the countries that we trust most. The relations are very intimate, and we have no secrets from India. So if India will have a need or a wish for a certain Israeli defense tool or weapon or whatever, I'm sure that there will be a very warm welcome readiness to in Israel on the Israeli side to supply it and to help India develop its own. And we are also trying to adapt to Make in India and move as much as possible of the work, the manufacturing work that is done into India in certain systems that are bought by India.
Now, nowadays, people of India have seen Israel in the list of top countries in international scenario. Israel is booming, and in recent years, Israel has developed good ties with Arab world also. So, my question is that can we expect any change or tweaks in the position of, in the context of Palestine issue also, if we talk about international scenario?
Yeah, what you mentioned is a huge change of paradigm, I think, in the Middle East. For years, the Arab countries were supporting the Palestinians and making the Palestinian issue the main issue in the Middle East, and nothing can move without that. And there was a shift of paradigm because I think already years before, they had connections with Israel. When they needed to buy defense system or other system technology from Israel, they found a way to buy it from Israel. But now they made it public. They took it to the open, the fact that we have relations. I personally believe that it's connected to their fear from Iran and seeing Israel as one of the, or probably the main counterbalance and counterpower that is trying to limit the Iranian expansion in the Middle East. So I think this is a huge element, and it's a change of way of thinking. It's not that they're saying that the Palestinian issue disappeared as not important anymore, but they say that the wellness of our people, what our people need, is as important, at least, if not more important, than what the Palestinian. We are elected, or we are there to give our people better lives. And if Israel can be the partner to do that, we want to partner with Israel. And I think this is a very important concept. And India adopted this concept, by the way, years before.
Yeah.
Years before. For many years, some in India thought that if you support automatically the Palestinian issue, you will have automatic support on Pakistan problems and stuff like that. And I think that history showed that when problems erupted, usually you found the Muslim world closer to the positions of Pakistan than to the positions of India. And I think that India took a very right decision to say, yeah, we are not ignoring the Palestinian issue, but India, we have our interests with Israel, we go forward. And we are going forward very, very well. So we have a strategic partnership now. Our relations are so vast in all fields. Really, it's very hard for me even to think of a field where we are not cooperating. Not to mention our corporations, but to mention where we don't work together. Really, on all fields, because we are very close and very intimate and very friendly, and we can trust each other and share with each other both of us our knowledge. So the relations are really intimate there.
So my point is that technology is advanced now, and will technology will bring another threat to the job seekers? If we minimize the work, then for technology, we'll have to shorten our job seekers.
Yeah, but technology is taking over everywhere. So you need more people to work in technology, in producing it, in making it, in adapting it, so you're losing jobs, low-paying. Hopefully, the tendency should be that you lose the low-paying jobs, and you go to the higher-paying jobs inside technology, part of the ecosystem. The world is moving there, so it doesn't mean that necessarily tomorrow all laborers will be replaced by machines. You will lose, you will need less low-paying jobs, hopefully, and you will be able to create more high-paying jobs. People who are working in this, and not everyone in the industry is a computer expert. There are many things that you can do around the industry that are lesser than that. Manufacturing, fabrication. There is a lot of things that can be done. And I think that this is where the world is going. So, thinking that we shouldn't adopt technology because it will create unemployment is a dangerous, it means that the world is going to technology. Whoever is not together on this bus taking off to technology world will have a problem in the future.
I don't know, should I ask or not. The Pegasus issue was a political issue in India. So, what is your take on that?
Look, NSO, the company,
Yes,
which
NSO, yes.
is a private Israeli company, one of few in the world, by the way, that does such softwares. It's a private company, developed this software, this tool, in order to combat terror and organized crime. Since we understand the sensitivity of such systems, we treated it as a government, and we did the full export control mechanism on this system to make sure that it's, or to minimize the chance that it will be abused. So we are allowing them for years already to export it. They need our export. First of all, they cannot export without our export control license. First of all, so you put it on the list of items which are under supervision, and then we allow them to export just to government organizations and certain governments, not in all countries. Mostly we prefer going to democratic and liberal, more liberal countries where you know that it will be used in the right way. And it's an important tool because we live in a very dangerous world, full of terrorism, full of dangers, and we have to combat these bad people who are every day waking up in the morning thinking how they can make someone's lives very miserable.
Yes, the terrorism problem is in Northeast India is also there, and this somehow it is different from the West and other countries. So to combat terrorism and to overcome such kind of difficulties, you say Pegasus by NSO is important in India also?
I don't know. It depends on how India wants to come. I will say that in general, Israel is probably the country that is struggling the most with terrorism. Surely, yeah, I would say probably the most because it's a small country. So the magnitude is relatively bigger. Our solutions today in general, I'm not speaking about Pegasus, I'm speaking in general, the solution for terror today is technology. So the way that we are able to stop terror actions or to find the perpetrators very, very fast after they perpetrated is based on technology. So I think this is the future. That's where we are, because it's very hard to stop. If some person wakes up in the morning, you saw that in the United States, another kind of of terror. The guy woke up in the morning, decided that he hates the world and he wants to kill his grandmother, and then go to a school and kill a whole classroom of young children. Terrible thing. So the same goes to a terrorist. He wakes up in the morning, or maybe on the social media he was doctrinized that he has to hate this or that, or wakes up in the morning, takes a knife, takes his car and drives into people, or has a weapon and goes and shoots people. It's very hard to, you need to follow, and a lot of the indoctrination, at least in our place, is done through the social media. TikTok is very relevant, Instagram, other elements, and so if you don't monitor them, if you don't use the technology, they use the technology. Yeah. So we need to use technology in order to counter them and be faster than them. We always have to be a step before the terror. If not, we are not able to prevent. We are just able to deal with it after it's happened.
Yes, prevention is important. So I'm coming to a personal question. So you are here, not that personal. So you are here, have you tasted any service food?
Yes, of course. Of course. We had both lunch yesterday and dinner, but I must say that some food, it's more fish than I have in Delhi, for example, but the flavors are not so much different that I tasted in other places. So I've been to Mumbai and I've been to other places. In Nagaland I saw a little bit less because they use different season, Yeah, that I saw that there was a difference in the general taste. It's more chili direction and salt rather than richness of like in other places that you see a combination of a bigger variety of herbs and spices. But I love the Indian food in general. Wherever you go, it's a gift that India has. That wherever you go, you have food and food for everyone, because vegetarians, it's a paradise for vegetarians. Fish, chicken, You have here lamb, you have everything here in this country. So one of the good parts, in general, I must tell you, it's important for me. It's my sixth country that I'm serving as a diplomat, and my third time as ambassador. I've been ambassador to Italy before, and then to the Netherlands, and now to India. I think that the warm welcome that the Indian people have given me is really, really unusual warm. We felt at home from the first moment, and we really, really enjoy it here. And it's the people, it's the country, it's the energies that you find, it's the food, it's the it's the culture, it's everything. It's really a very magnetic country. So it takes you in, and it's a wonderful feeling.
So, do you have any plan to do some cultural exchange program along with Israel and Northeast India?
Yeah, we discussed it today. We went here to also to the museum about the history of Assam and the people of Assam. And we discussed the possibility. We saw there a picture already, by the way, in the museum of an Israeli artist, but not connected to Assam necessarily in this sense, because it was an international exhibition of different artists from different countries. But in general, we discussed also the possibility of bringing, and that's why we are very happy to have here an honorary consul who can bring initiatives. We have in all India, we have one embassy, not huge, relatively one of the biggest we have in the world, but we are a small country, so not that huge. And then we have two consulates, one in Mumbai for years, also before the embassy it was there, and one in Bangalore. And we have only two honorary consuls, one in Calcutta and one here. And that means that we put a lot of emphasis on Northeast Assam and the Northeast. And hopefully the honorary consul, will be able also to do some cultural exchange, tourism, whatever we can do to develop the people to people and the government to government relations, we are there.
Yes. That's really nice, Mr. Gilon. I'm really happy and I'm honored that you have given us so much time for this interview. DY 365 viewers and Nltv viewers, they are watching this, and I wish you all the best and your ambition and what you have taken, the projects that will bloom in Assam and Northeast India. We'll meet again if it is possible in your next visit. I'll to see you in my studio. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much. Thank you.